Hey everybody. I'm going to do a little demo on photocopy transfer today. And this will be for all three of the classes that I'm teaching at the moment. So what a photocopy transfer is using acetone. That's what I prefer. It's a very quick way to make a transfer onto a different surface with a laser print or a photocopy. In this case, we're using a photocopy from my home photocopier. Inkjets will not work, just so you know. It has to be a toner-based photocopy. So I'm going to start with some different surfaces just to kind of give you an idea of what's possible. The first thing I'm going to do is transfer onto wood. So I have a piece of MDF, which is a very smooth surface wood, and that actually is very good for doing photocopy transfers. So I'm going to start by putting the photocopy face down onto the wooden surface, and then I'm going to take the photocopy, the acetone, and paint the back of the photocopy. In this case, it's a photograph of an old house with some writing on it from an old postcard. Paint the acetone on that surface, and then with a piece of paper wadded up, I'm just going to rub the surface. You want to use some fairly good pressure. Usually working from the inside out. You don't want to be too vigorous because you can smear the photocopy. But you have to do this fairly quickly, and then you just peel away the photocopy, and if you're lucky, then you'll have an image left behind, which is perfect for either a background or kind of combined with collage. So you could even, I'm going to take this photocopy for an example, and I'm going to add something else on top of that. So you can kind of collage with this technique as well if you want to. I'm going to use some words. This says marble bones, so I don't know why, but I'm going to see if I can transfer that on top of that house. So here, let's have a try and see what happens. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But you want to have everything printed backwards, otherwise it's going to come out they're going to come out wrong reading. There we go. So you see how that works? And of course you could just build up a complete collage just using photocopy transfers. But if you want, you can add collage materials on top of that just to kind of add more interest to the process. You can work on all kinds of different surfaces. Like I said, wood. I'm going to try one on a piece of cloth, which happens to be an old bed sheet. I'm just going to use this particular one, which says Yoko Ono on it. It goes like that. So laying that face down, adding the acetone. You want to work fairly quickly when you're doing this because the acetone tends to evaporate very quickly. Let's see if that works. I'm going to add just a little more pressure. Let's see if I can get just a little more density out of that. Cloth tends not to be quite as black as it does on, say, wood or a different surface. But there you see you have the word, actually I think it goes like that, Yoko. Happens to be one of my favorite artists. So, so that's wood. I'm going to do one now on glass. This happens to be a mirror that I made once using a special kind of paint. I'm just going to find something fairly graphic. Here, this is actually, I don't know if I can get that all on there, but it says we look towards the window. But it doesn't matter. I just want to see if it works. So I'm just going to paint that on. Rub the back. And when you're doing something like as sensitive or slick as glass, you got to be really careful not to use too much acetone. Already I can see I might have used a little too much, and it tends to bleed. So let's see if that worked. Let me peel that off. Yeah, it didn't really work all that well. And you can't really see it because of the reflections, I guess, but it did transfer. It says we look towards the window. But sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I'm going to do one on envelopes right next, on paper. So I'm going to transfer this image here of from a college annual onto an envelope. And I like to use the back of the envelope because it tells you that it's an envelope as opposed to just the paper, because the front, because it would just look like a piece of paper. So I'm just going to line that up, get the acetone, paint that on. Rub the back vigorously with some good pressure, but not too vigorous. And peel that off. And you can see you get a nice transfer that way. So it works good on a really smooth surface. So that is on paper, on an envelope. Next one I want to try is in a book page. These are really, book pages are very interesting to use as a photocopy transfer. So I'm going to use this funny photograph of some of my nieces and nephews. I'm going to transfer that onto a book page with Greek writing. I have no idea what it says. So maybe maybe it will relate to the image. Who knows? So I'm just going to paint that on. You can kind of paint it on. You don't have to cover the entire surface. You can kind of play around with vignetting, and that can always be kind of interesting. I'm just going to rub the surface on there. Peel that off. Now you can kind of see it's a little dark, but I think you can kind of get a sense of what the image is. And yeah, so a lot of different possibilities here. You can work on, play around with it, just see what kind of surfaces you can work on. Then you can collage on top of that, and just see where you can go with this process. Anyway, thanks for looking. Maybe we'll do some more of these. This is my first video, so it's a little rough, so I apologize, but we're getting there. Bye.